Welcome to the Just for Flips podcast, a podcast for people who want more. We dive deep into the world of residential real estate investing, interviewing and discussing success stories and strategies of entrepreneurs killing it and building huge businesses. So if you're an agent wanting to move away from traditional real estate or just want to get out of the rat race and build multiple streams of income, this is the place for you. Thanks for listening. Hey guys, it's Chris with the Just for Flips podcast, and we are going a little bit off schedule with entrepreneurs. We are actually going in with one of my good friends, Dena Jones, today. And to give you a little history, I've been in the real estate business, for 24 years, and around 2008, so about 9 years into my journey, I made a relationship with Fidelity Title. And while I've been with Fidelity Title for coming up on 16 years, I've always had an account manager with Fidelity Title that's helped me meet the right people, connect with the right, or be in the right rooms, connect with the right people. So it's really kind of helped my business grow. And my account manager for around the last
10 years.
10 years. So,
almost 10. Creeping up on 10 in October.
So for more than half the time that I've been with Fidelity Title, it's been Dena. And she was a real estate agent before she got into the title industry. So she kind of went a little different than some of the guys I've been talking to are real estate agents that kind of went to the wholesaling and the entrepreneurial route. You're the real estate agent that went a little bit to the corporate route. But at the same time, just like I have witnessed some of these guys like Luke and Templeton and Jared and some of the guys that have been on the podcast previously, you've also helped and watched them grow in their businesses from, call it, solopreneurs into, these big real estate operations. So, and you've also helped with some of those journeys as well. So like take us for the agent, when you were the agent, how the transition happened, and let's go from there.
Well, just like every transition, it's a happy accident. Yeah. So coming December, it'll be 20 years in the real estate space for me. And in October, it'll be 10 years with Fidelity. So quite the journey. I was a customer at Fidelity's for many, many years before I worked there. And I did every side of the business from a practitioner standpoint. So literally worked for a new home builder, was an agent back in the short sale and REO days, had my own business. I also did land development and landscape development for a contractor and kind of got to know the whole development side of the business. And then my most recent, before I transitioned, I did commercial. So literally every side of the business before I got into it. I think you and I probably met at the auction when I was down there trying to figure out how to go help one of my clients when their house went to foreclosure because the short sale didn't go through.
Yeah, it didn't go through, yeah.
And I was like, there's a bunch of boys down here. I'm the only girl. I got to figure out how to use somebody that's going to get the deal done. And I think we used your bid service.
Yeah. So back in the short sale days, we would actually a buyer be lined up and ready to go, and maybe the bank didn't approve it.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. So there was a number set. Obviously, it was on MLS. So this is the open market number that, somebody's willing to pay. And the bank just says no, right? Because they're taking less than that, whatever reason. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to what the banks were taking back then.
But you still had a buyer totally invested in love with the home.
Yeah, so
that was the solution.
Yeah, so a lot of times as the bid service, what I would do is I would buy the house. They had their price kind of already set, and then I would just sell it to them for that price. Actually, what I would do is I'd sell it to them. I would charge like a 3%. So if I was paying $250 for the house, I just charge them 3%, 1% for my money cost for the month, and then 2% for basically me putting my money out and,
And we just had to come like the next day and bring a cashier's check.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we wanted because we were putting out a $10,000 deposit.
Yep.
So we were asking our customer to put that $10,000 deposit as their earnest money, and it was non-refundable.
Yes.
Right. So, but it still we got a lot of deals done that way. So.
Oh, for sure. And I remember being down there and they were like eating me for lunch before I figured out there's another way to do this.
Yeah.
And that was through your company.
Yeah, use the local bid service on the guys that are down there every day. And there still are local bid services. And, I've talked a little bit on my podcast. I was a foreclosure guy for 17 years, but the foreclosures have dried up quite a bit. So I had to go and switch, just like, a lot of the previous guys on this podcast. We do a lot of direct to seller marketing where we're doing, we were cold calling, text messages, PPC, all the different marketing channels you do when you're running a real estate business.
Absolutely.
So, but what you've helped me in my business is the networking. And there's been all kinds of different stuff that we've done.
So many fun things.
Yeah. So used to be...
you were like my guy on the circuit back in the day, like every happy hour in town, every large charity event that was happening, like weekends, nights, all the things. Like,
yeah.
We were at everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Years.
Yeah, we definitely attended lots of stuff. And there used to be, so there were the mastermind dinners,
yes,
right?
Yes,
So basically the title company would bring in somebody that had,
large business.
Yeah, large business, sharing with what's working in their market, what's working in their business. And it was just like, and some of the places we went were like Dominic's, Ruth's Chris.
Yeah, fancy.
So there were those. And then, like you said, lots of charity events. Yep. In 2017, we started the PHX REIA together.
Yes.
That's been 7 years now.
Can you believe it?
7 years.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. So, and we're still going on the PHX REIA. We're still running with that
evolving.
Today. Yeah.
It's always evolving. And what was fun about even just starting it? We were doing a mastermind in your house on a monthly basis with guys that were doing at least 100 deals a year. Do you remember that?
Yep.
And these were people that back in the day when we first started, I was like, these guys aren't going to all want to be hanging out in the same room sharing their strategies. And one of the first ones we did, I was asking the question about what's a fail. And I will never forget the guy that was like, I put the wrong phone number on the postcard, and he sent out 100,000 of them and didn't realize why his phone wasn't ringing until he was like, oh, I should have proofed that. It was the wrong phone number, so who knows who they were calling. But it was such a good group of core investors who I know you still do deals with today.
Yeah.
A lot of them are still our clients, and the market was changing. And you are such a visionary, and you were like, we got to figure out how to stay in front of whatever's next.
Yeah.
And that's when we wanted to grow the circle, right?
Yeah, I want to say we used to have 15 to 20 people.
Yeah. High level.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, you know what? We want to help the new guy.
Yeah.
But we also want to be in the room with the guys that are doing the majority of the business. And so that's, kind of how the PHX REIA was created. Remember, we had a board of directors.
Yeah.
We had our mini tribe that was strong, and we met every month.
Yeah, and we were having attendance at 120, 150 people. And it was great because the people that were attending weren't just, there are meetups where it's all about bringing the new guy in, right?
Yes.
And those meetups are great, especially for the person putting that on. They're getting new people, new blood in there to either, bring them deals or become a coaching student or whatever. Kind of our meetup or the PHX REIA has always been about let's network, let's learn some stuff, but let's not have it be about monetization.
Well, that, and we've always felt very passionate about a no pitch format, right?
Yeah.
Because you can go to some of these other groups and these other meetups and just, I would walk in, at the time I was specializing in the investor space, and I was like, I feel like everybody's just trying to sell me stuff and they don't even know what I need, and that doesn't feel good, right?
Yeah.
So we have always done no pitch, like no hard sell. It's just give, which I think makes people feel like they're in the right room.
Yeah, for sure. And we continue to do that. But so we've done the PHX REIA. We were doing the dinner masterminds. I've done lunch and learns for Fidelity for a long time, which I would just do a education space, at one of the Fidelity offices, and you guys would send out the flyer, and especially in the foreclosure days, I did hundreds of these things where like, hey, you want to learn about foreclosures, like come in, and Fidelity would, put on the lunch, and I would but obviously that would just help my business grow. I would
grow your network.
Grow the network. But I'm growing my network. I was growing my network at like 50 and 60 people at a time. Instead of just meeting one person, I'm meeting 60 people. Right?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I've also appreciated about you, Chris, is like, I meet people that are brand new in the business and some people that are seasoned, and they are not always good customers for a title company. Let's just be honest, right? There are some people that are really, really difficult to do business with. And there's some people that are amazing. But you have always been willing to take a coffee meeting with anybody I put in front of you. And that does a couple things for me. Number one, it lets me vet them out to figure out, are they good people to be in business with?
Yeah.
Because you know right away, like, is this somebody you want to do a deal with? And your take on that is going to be different than mine, and I've always appreciated that. But you also are able to really help them get a leg up on the practical side on things like I can't do. Like, I remember when Jake and Luke walked into my office, they didn't even have an LLC yet. They didn't have a contract. They were like, we want to get into investing. We don't know where to start. And I was like, you need to meet with Chris.
Yeah.
Like, you need to meet with Chris. And now look at them so many years later. I mean, I am just so impressed and so proud of them for how much they've grown. I mean, this is pre-babies, pre-marriages, all the, building the coaching empires, all the things. And it's so cool to see, like, how just making that one connection can really fast track somebody to exponential growth.
Yeah. So she's talking about Luke that was on who's also in the red room with me, but like, meeting you to, like you said, fast track. And, there's a lot of people that go the coaching route, like, and they sign up with the coaches, and we know all the different coaches, but having just the right title rep can help you get through that process. And for you, it's just going to bring...
it brought us deals faster, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
They had to do the work, right?
Yeah.
But, and Luke was not afraid to pick up the phone, and you were not afraid to say, yes, I'll take the meeting, right? So I feel like if I have a superpower, one of them, it's definitely connecting dots. So like figuring out like who to connect that's going to make magic together, right?
For sure.
It doesn't happen every time, but when it does happen, like I just look back and I'm like, I smile. I'm like, people are living their dreams.
Yeah, but you have to take the meeting to find out. Like, if you don't take any meetings, you're not going to find out who your next big client is.
Right.
Whether you're a wholesaler or whether, I might take a coffee meeting with somebody that might put $1 million in my company and my hard money business, right? You never know. You never know. But so you have to take that meeting. Now with the Zoom, it's, you can do some of those meetings on, especially now that I travel back and forth from Arizona to Florida, sometimes I do those Zoom, but it's still nice to, even if I'm in town, I'll do the coffee meeting, because if you meet somebody, you just have the exponential chance to actually do business with them is way better. If it's on a phone call or a Zoom call, it just doesn't have it, right?
It just doesn't give you the same touchy feels, like chemistry, like I don't know. Yeah, it's not the same. I mean, we did it while we were going through COVID. I mean, we had a lot of those meetings on Zoom, right? But my preference is definitely like face to face, where you can really feel connected and, share about how to help each other.
Yeah. And that's kind of what is actually, speaking to COVID, like that's kind of what kind of took the little bit took, Phoenix REIA down a little bit.
Yeah.
Like,
we didn't know what to do.
Yeah, because you couldn't. It took some time to build it back up. We had to shut it down because COVID, first of all. And then when we tried to kind of start it again, we were getting like dismal attendance. Like,
it was a joke. I mean, let's just be real. You and me were standing at Grimaldi's going, is anybody going to show up here?
Yeah.
And sometimes they did and sometimes they didn't. And so then we tried another venue. And it was like, okay, well, how do we gain momentum again? I feel like we've got that now. But one of the things I think we did right during COVID was the education didn't stop.
Yeah.
Right? The world might have been shut down and education had to go virtual, but like consistency still happened, and you have always been committed to just staying consistent, and I believe like how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah, and that's just consistency, just like losing. So you talked about when we were walking in, like, is there anything that like you're fearful of? And kind of the interesting thing is like, even for the REIA, like the REIA is not my actual business. It's kind of my way to give back. But like, if I were a business owner and the Phoenix REIA was my business, like having COVID shut down, like
all the things,
in-person meetings for
2 years.
Yeah, it was probably
2.5 years.
Yeah, it was 6 months, like true shutdown. But
people were afraid.
People's mentality didn't come back for a couple years.
We came back. They weren't ready for us.
Yeah.
I think there was one, I can't remember the venue, but it was like me and you and 2 people. I mean,
Yeah.
It was...
It's like, yeah, did we just spend the money to put this event on and we're just hanging out by... We could have just,
just gone to Dominic's.
So that kind of interesting enough is like, things happen, things adjust, and like, but that was our core business. That would have been like, would have been out of business, right?
Totally out of business.
So,
I mean, as a title company too, like we had to figure out how do you stay in front of your people and add value when you can't actually go out and see anybody, right?
But
business was still happening.
But to that point, you guys, Fidelity, put on how many different Zoom calls?
Oh my gosh,
a week were you
all
guys,
the time?
Yeah.
I was doing yappy hours where I was having my clients bring their pets to a happy hour that we did virtually.
Yeah. So back to consistency. Like if you just stay consistent with what you're doing, even if you were starting out in real estate, back to Luke's podcast, he consistently made those calls.
Yes, he did.
If you're consistent, you'll get momentum and you'll grow.
It'll become your routine too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like your life won't feel right unless you're doing the thing.
And then obviously the next piece is being able to pivot and to adjust, which is happening all the time. We're just talking about, like, did you hear Pennsylvania may have just outlawed wholesaling? We already know that South Carolina for sure did, but we were walking in going, is there a trend here? What's next for Arizona? Yeah, exactly. So, and speaking what's next to Arizona, don't know if this is going to air in time, but if it doesn't, we will have put on the answer for the Arizonans, because we do have the head of the Department of Real Estate coming to Phoenix REIA to
special event.
Yeah, to talk about, like, hey, do you want us all to get, what's the answer? Do you want us all to get a license? Is it gonna be outlawed? What's coming, and what do we need to prepare for to adjust?
Well, and the tagline for the Phoenix REIA has always been to stay one step ahead, right? So this event is a byproduct of you being one step ahead and having an idea and just casually asking me the question, like, what do you think the commissioner wants from us as wholesalers? And I was like, I have no idea. Like, I don't know what is next, and figuring out, okay, well, how do we get that answer?
Yeah. Let's ask.
So we're going to ask.
Yeah. So if this airs on time on September 10th, we are going to have the commissioner at Scottsdale Community College, and we are going to we're going to ask. We're going to like, hey, this has been part of my business for 24 years. I don't need a COVID shutting down my business, or legislation shutting down my business. So as a wholesaler, what do I need to do to continue buying business? Because wholesaling has value. Like
absolutely,
because
you're solving a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these hoarder houses that you buy, I see pictures of. I'm like, that can't go to market.
No, like the one Jack just bought one where there was a dead dog and a dead cat in the house.
Is this the same one with a squatter that got like evicted twice?
No. So this one was unfortunately obviously the pets passed away because the person passed away. So he was not able to feed the pets because he passed away, or he or she. I don't know if it was a he or she. But
so there was a person that was dead too in the house?
Yeah, there was a person that was dead, but they, obviously when they find out that the people come in, whoever the people are, and take
mortician style.
Yeah,
okay.
Take the dead body out, but they leave the dog and cat. So, but like that isn't something that needs to go up on MLS.
No.
Where people are going to be showing the property, and who's going to pay for it to get cleaned out, right?
Where's that money coming from?
Yeah, exactly. So, it's the agent's not going to go pay to have $3,000 to have like the house dumped or anything like that. So, like there is space for the wholesaler now.
And I do believe too that there's a lot of people in this business who are wholesalers who want to do it right.
Yeah.
But we don't know what that looks like
for
tomorrow.
Yeah. So what's right? So like if you just give me the set of rules, I'll play by the set of rules. I just got to know what the rules are and where the rules are going.
Exactly.
So, I mean, South Carolina said you can't wholesale unless you own it. Okay. That's fair.
They're talking about marketing a contract.
So you can't market the contract. You actually have to wait till you own the house, and then you can wholesale.
But that wouldn't affect your business at all.
It would just mean more capital for the actual takedown. But as long as I know that, then I just make sure that the capital is available. So, as a matter of fact, I started a separate business with a guy named Corey Boatwright, who is coming in tomorrow. We're going on Steve Train's podcast, but we have a company called Takedown Funding.
Fun.
In which we've actually done 2 transactions now where the wholesaler submits the property and we approve it, and we actually we pay for the property for the wholesaler. Now they've closed on it, and they can market the property as a wholesale deal, and we take a portion of their profit.
So in what states are you doing that?
We are currently doing it in North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Tennessee, Oklahoma.
Maybe now Pennsylvania.
Yeah, maybe now Pennsylvania, because it's a product that it will help it's actually going to help, I think, the educators kind of the most, because they'll still a lot of the educators are like start on wholesale because that's your easiest barrier to entry.
Right. You can get into the business with $0.
Yeah. So you start in the wholesale. Those coaches will still be able to say that because, we can be behind the coach and say, hey, they go get a contract. And if they get the contract and we underwrite it, obviously, and it fits the model and we can see that there's potential profit, we will take it down for that newbie wholesaler, fund it for them. They now can market the property. And the good thing about this is we actually are taking it down on our name because we don't want to have to go through the foreclosure process or anything like that. But we take it down on our name. But a good thing about a lot of the states right now is they're making the wholesaler go get licensed.
Yes.
So as we take it down in our name, they just use their license and market the property, whether it's to their distribution list, and Takedown Funding owns the property, they market it, they wholesale it, transaction done, have a nice day. But it also gives them the ability to take it to the MLS, which generally will get them
high
dollar amount.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of a mix of the novation / wholesale all in one.
/ hotel.
Yeah, all of it.
All of it. That's amazing.
Yeah, we've funded 2 different transactions probably in the last week, just where, a guy got a contract for 95 and now he's listed on the market for 135.
Everybody wins.
And we funded the 95.
That's awesome.
So,
well, I think with any type of change in every market, there's opportunity, right? So because legislation is changing and some people are like doom and gloom, you're like, no, this is an opportunity. Let's start another business. Let's solve this problem.
Yeah. And that was working for South Carolina, but back to the commissioner, we're really just trying to say, what's Arizona looking like?
Yes.
And where do we need to be one step ahead to, and it's not just for me. We're doing this on a public forum. Hey, all my competitors, come on out. Hey, agents, come on out. Let's
Brokers,
find out.
Everybody. Yeah, it was funny. I was talking with Cody and Jack at the golf event the other day, and Cody's like, I don't want her to know my name, I was like, maybe we should rethink having name tags at this thing.
Yeah. Well, trust me. I kind of think based on what I've heard in the industry, and tell me if I'm wrong with this, they know all our names.
They definitely know everybody's name. I mean, the data exists. We have access to all of the data on who's closing. I look at it every single month. Even, agent data is real easy to find because all of that is done through multiple systems, MLS, things like that. But investor data is a lot harder to find, but we still know who you are.
Yeah. No, but just saying from the department's standpoint, obviously their job is to govern the space, right?
Yeah.
But their real goal is to try to find the bad actors, right?
I would think so. Yeah. And protect the consumer.
Protect the consumer, right? So they're out there trying to protect the consumer, but with the consumer, real estate agents, other people, not everybody understands what the playing field is, right?
There's a lot of unknowns right now.
Yeah, so I think people get complaints for maybe just because the consumer or the agent doesn't really understand. Like, trust me, I've had so many agents say, Chris, you can't send that out on your website. I'm like, well, technically I can with the equitable interest I have. But you don't know how many agents that, forgot about that piece or just don't understand that piece. So, like I said, I think the department knows who the wholesalers are in this town. They're obviously probably sifting through trying to find who the good ones are and the bad ones are. Hopefully this piece, of the puzzle, I'm just saying, hey, I want to be a good one. And I just want to know if I know what the rules are, then I can play within the rules.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If not, it's like the blind leading the blind.
Yeah, and just like if I'm going on the outside the bound, like if I don't know where the boundary is, I don't know if I'm going outside. And I think we try to keep a very clean. Like the last thing you want is a government agency knocking on your door. That's whether you're in the title business or the wholesale business or a real estate agent. The last thing, or you're a hard money lender, the last thing you want, when I get the call from AZDFI, it's time to do an audit. It's like, ooh, I don't care if you think you're squeaky clean, you're still like.
Still makes you nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even if you got all your ducks in a row and you know that you are doing your best every day to do everything right.
Yeah. And who is it AZDFI that does title as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, still, when you get the audit call, it's still,
Yeah, and they happen regularly just because it's part of the process, right?
Exactly.
So they got to keep everybody on a level playing field.
Yeah. So this is kind of our way to find out what that playing field looks like and where we need to be. Do we need to be licensed? Do we need to have a uniform contract? Obviously they did the disclosure.
I think it was 2022.
Yeah, they did.
And our disclosure is when it first came out, I remember we were like, oh, this is going to change things. It didn't change anything.
No, because I can tell you what everyone says. It says, hey, we're an investment company. We do fix and flips. We do
buy and hold,
short-term rentals.
But my exit strategy is not known at this time.
Not known at this time, but one of them is that little world wholesaling right there.
And to the consumer, I don't really think they know what that means.
Yeah.
Because if you think about as a consumer, if you're going to buy something wholesale, that means you're going to market to buy 10,000, skirts at, in the Las Vegas market or, one of those kind of places. They don't understand what wholesaling a house is.
Yeah, so the consumer probably doesn't know what that means. And you know what's crazy about this whole process is 2 years ago, actually more like 3, 4, and 5 years ago, the big box guys were doing all this.
Oh, for sure.
Opendoor, OfferPad, Zillow, they were offering all these people cash for their house, and they they were giving them X, but really X was about X minus 11% with fee, right? So is that a gray area? Because I'm giving you this, but I'm really only netting you 11 or 12% less than that, right? And Opendoor and OfferPad, I think some of them had their own website that you could go. They weren't going
type in your property.
Yeah, not all of them were going to the MLS. Some were going to quote unquote their website, obviously trying to make a profit, but they were also trying to buy market share and get all the stuff.
Yeah, Wall Street stuff.
Yeah, a little too complicated for me, but this was all Main Street. This was just and
it was the norm.
Yeah, it was the norm, and they weren't. They were all doing it, and no one was. It's just interesting that the mom and pop investor now, because most wholesale companies are mom and pop. Even back to Luke and Jake, it's Luke and Jake in a small team. It's not like it's some big box Opendoor.
No.
So
it feels different when you walk in their office than when I used to walk into Opendoor back in the day.
Yeah.
Less of a machine, I guess. You know, more of they're just real people.
Yeah. So they're just buying houses. So it's just trying to figure out where we all need to be.
Yeah, and I think that this event's going to be great. And I think I love where your head's at about let's just create a solution, because I don't know what that looks like, and let's just ask.
Yeah.
Super smart.
Can't get in trouble for asking.
Worst thing they could say is no, and they said yes. So here we go, September 10th, 5 o'clock, Scottsdale Community College. If this airs in time for you to know about that event.
We'll definitely get some. We'll get some
afterthoughts.
No, some short term. What are they? Some reels out of it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So. Cool. Well, I appreciate you jumping on. What do you got? What's some advice you'd give the new investor looking to national new investor that's looking for a title company? Do they just go to their local title company and say, "Hey, where's my marketing rep card? I need to reach out and talk to them."
So I think it depends on your market, right? Yep. Some markets don't even have marketing or salespeople. Okay. Believe it or not, their escrow officer handles all the things. Every market's different. I would definitely make some phone calls and find an investor-friendly title company. I would see if you can schedule, 5 minutes to talk to somebody that does work with investors. Here in Arizona, if you are looking at getting into the game, I'm happy to help you, kind of give you the lay of the land. There are a lot of resources that title companies help with. I think one of our biggest competitive advantages is our network, right? Yeah. So I think that's been something that I can leverage that is super important. The investor events, inviting people to them so they're in the right rooms. That's a big, big deal. And then depending on what kind of the business you want to get in, we can talk strategy. I definitely think I've heard some horror stories about people that are just on the internet Googling where's the title company, and then they try to figure out how to write their first contract and nobody will help them, and I think that sucks. I've definitely heard from several people who were like, "You're my 10th phone call and nobody will help me." I'm like, okay, calm down. Well, I picked up my phone.
Yeah. Well, and that's one piece that I did forget, the investor-friendly title company, because you talk subject to novations, wholesale, and those are 3 of the terms, and if that title rep doesn't know what you're talking about, probably time to move on.
I get the question, hey, do you know anything about creative financing? Do you, there's if you're going to get somebody that gives you a blank stare when you mentioned wholesaling at all or any of those other terms, it's probably not the right company. And I'll tell you, not every escrow officer within every company is good at all those different types of strategies either, right? Like, we have people that specialize. So I know exactly who to go to if you are looking for, your traditional luxury agent. I know where to send you. If you are looking because you're a wholesaler and you're going to do one deal a year, I know who to send you to. If you're doing 10 deals a month, I know who to send you to, right? Because everybody has kind of like a different passion for their craft too. And it's not like when you go to real estate school, you get 90 hours, here's your certificate, good luck. Hopefully you join a brokerage, it teaches you actually how to do the deals, or you're surrounded by people that can. But escrow is a job that you don't go get a degree for, you learn hands-on, right? Yeah. So we definitely have people that love different types of customers, that love different types of the business, and it's kind of super fun for me to play matchmaker.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you jumping on. Hopefully people got a lot out of this. If you are in the Phoenix market, and actually if you're other markets, because Fidelity's...
We're everywhere. Largest in the nation.
Yeah. So, you can just read out to... what is it?
Instagram, Dena M. Jones.
Dena M. Jones, Instagram. And she can, if you're in another state, she can probably connect you with a... Fidelity person in that market, and then that rep will connect you to the right escrow officer.
Exactly. Yes.
So anyway, great.
I love hanging out with you.
Yeah. See ya.